So I very often talk about games for the Nintendo Switch that make me go, oh wow, this is amazing. But I very rarely talk about games that make me go, oh gross, this is terrible. So today we're talking about 10 games for the Nintendo Switch that really suck. In 2017, we saw some Nintendo games the likes of which we have wanted for years, games that were so amazing that I can't shut up about. But we also saw some games that didn't belong on the Switch or any gaming system, even on mobile. Games that no one should ever play even with a gun to their head. So without over-exaggerating anymore, let's talk about 10 terrible games for the Switch. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's talk about some bad games. Okay, let's come out swinging with Troll and I. Troll and I was a game that when it came out, I knew it was terrible. I heard it was terrible, I experienced that it was terrible, but it was so bad that I didn't even want to make a video about it. It was well enough covered by my friends RGT85 and 8-Bit Eric to the point where I didn't need to touch this thing, I didn't need to add to the travesty that was Troll and I. But for those that don't know, let me catch you up to speed. This game has awful controls, beyond awful controls. The gameplay is just flat out boring, very mediocre. It's not much to look at either, but the main thing that makes this game stand out from the rest is it is an absolute buggy, glitchy mess. From the menu systems to the actual gameplay, if you like falling through the floor and seeing things that you're not supposed to see in video games, or just basic mechanics not working the way they're supposed to, then this is the game for you. And even at its best, when the game is working the way it's supposed to, the sound design is awful. Sound effects in places where I'm 100% sure they're not supposed to be. Sounds of things that don't sound like what they're supposed to sound like. Yeah, Troll and I am staying away from it. If you want all the gameplay mechanics from Bomberman but with none of the excitement, then Flip Wars might be the game for you. This is a game that almost made my initial bad Switch games video just because it's boring. It's extremely mediocre. The game is literally jumping and slamming on tiles to make them your color. I just explained the entire game in about 3 seconds, and sometimes less is more, but not in the case of Flip Wars. Very droll, very boring. If you're playing with the AI sucks, so you kind of have to play it with friends, but it's just not, it's Bomberman without the bombs or anything that made it good. Skyride. Now you would think that riding a bike in the sky, defeating oncoming enemies with 4 different types of weapons could be an amazing game. That's a fun concept for sure, but guess what? Non-surprisingly, because I'm talking about it, it's really bad. For starters, when you load up this game, it just kind of starts. There's no menus or welcoming screens or anything. You get one loading screen, then oh, hi, you're in the game now. So the game just throws you in and you start shooting at things, and that's the entire game right there. This mess of a game that you're looking at on your screen right now, this is in the first couple minutes of the game, and it is the entire game. It has terrible controls, which you can change the control scheme to suit your needs, to suit your wants. And one thing you can actually do that's kind of cool is you can map all weapons to be the same button and fire everything at once. You'd think technically that'd be a kind of weird advantage. I guess you could say that it is, but in a game like this, is there really any advantage? The controls are honestly just horrific. The entire game is a mess. The gameplay is awkward. It's just hard to even explain the gameplay. Everything you'd think would be a natural motion for a video game is completely backwards and unnatural. If you're the kind of person that loves staring at train wrecks, pick this game up. Try it out. See how you feel about it. I don't think Vroom in the Night Sky was intended to be a spiritual successor to Superman 64, but it definitely is 100% just that. It's almost like they wanted to make that game. They wanted to make a second Superman 64, but couldn't get the rights to Superman, so they replaced the sprites with a witch. All you do is fly through hoops, trying to open gates at the end of each world. That's the game. I could talk about the broken English. I could talk about the fact that it's not fun to do anything in this game, but nah, I'm just gonna move on. For the longest time, this was the worst Switch game for months until Troll and I came out, and then both of those were overshadowed by WWE. Let's talk about that next. WWE 2K18 was a game that I covered recently, and actually, I'm sure most of you have seen that video, but just in case you haven't, is the buggiest, glitchiest, horriblest mess I've seen on the Switch, as horrible as whatever word that was supposed to be. The main issue here is the frame rates drop so insanely low that it's unplayable. If you have 6 people in the ring at any given time, it runs at about that. But again, I've covered this game already, so I'd just be repeating myself. There's a link in the description below if you want to suffer through the horrible mess that I suffered through. WWE 2K18 is the worst game on this list. I maybe should have saved it till last, but you guys already know it's bad. Othello! I know a lot of people talk about how bad this game is on the Switch, but here it is, Othello. It's just the game Othello. If you haven't played that game, it's a game of flipping tiles to get colors into your color, kind of like Flip Wars in a way, but even more boring. The main reason it doesn't belong on the Switch is because, it should be free on the Switch. You can download it free on a mobile device, you can play it free online on your PC. It's Othello. Just go buy Othello and play it. Just straight basic Othello that you have to pay $5 to play when you could play it on your phone for free. It came out, I think, at launch with the Switch, actually. It was just something else to be on the Switch, something they could easily put on there to add to the Switch library initially, but it would have been better off not being on there at all. Next game not worth it, 1-2 Switch. Next game not worth it, we have Rhyme. Again, I covered this game already. It's a buggy, glitchy mess. It's another port to the Switch that didn't do too well. And I know watching just this video, if you're a Switch hater or you're just trying to find some negativity in your life, it seems like, oh, look at all these ports of games that don't run on the Switch. What a surprise. Well, I am making a collection of bad games, mind you, but most ports to the system so far have been really great. Things like Resident Evil Revelations, holy crap, it's just so fun. It's an amazing port. Doom runs great, Skyrim runs great. A lot of these big games running amazing, so why did Rhyme run so terribly? Bad optimization. The game has bad optimization in general on all systems, but the port was just lazy. I'd say it was rushed, but it took him forever to finally put it on the system. Even still, it didn't run at all good and stuff. It ran bad. Apparently there's been a patch since then. I honestly haven't tried it again. I was burnt the first time. I don't want to buy into this whole releasing a game and then a few weeks or a couple months later patching it and, oh look, it runs a little better now. When it came out and it sucked. New Frontier Games is a Stardew Valley style game that I don't recommend picking up because of Stardew Valley. When this game came out, Stardew wasn't out yet. It was okay for what it was. It's another game that really belongs on mobile and doesn't have anything to keep anyone invested. It's really bare bones and not that enjoyable. I don't really even like the way that it looks, and I found myself getting bored 5 minutes into my first playthrough, and there was really nothing that ever brought me into the game. And the main reason why I won't recommend it, while it's not the worst game on this list, we have Stardew Valley, and I can never recommend that game enough, and I would hate to think someone plays New Frontier over Stardew Valley. That would be like someone getting into retro games and they can only afford to buy one game, so they buy Quest 64 instead of Ocarina of Time. It would be a shame. Next, we have Dark Witch Music Episode something. This is a rhythm style game where you stand in one place and you press 1 or 3 buttons depending on what color ball is flying towards your face. Each ball corresponds with a different button, and you also have to jump over fireballs, and that's the entire game. There isn't much else to it. It gets boring really fast, and if you want to play a fantastic rhythm game on the Switch, I highly recommend Voice. That is a really engaging rhythm game with a lot of great music, over like 100 tracks, I think, and it's just really fun to play. There's so much crazy stuff going on, and it's not just button, 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 button. I don't know. I didn't find that game very great at all, and I like the sprite and the art style, so just in case you're like me and you get drawn in by the graphical style of it, buy something like Voice instead, or just play Breath of the Wild again. That was just a quick look at 10 games for the Nintendo Switch I don't recommend buying. I didn't want to tear into them all in depth too much because I always feel bad when I talk crap about a game. People have worked on these games. They started with a vision, they started with a goal, they wanted to build something, and that didn't really hit the mark with these games. I don't want to attack something that someone made any more than I have to. I know what it feels like to create content and have people tear into it, critique it, destroy it, and try and make me feel like a terrible human being for something I said. It's not fair. If it's bad, just say it's bad. And these games are bad. But there are a ton of amazing games on the Switch. You want to find out more about them? I have a ton more videos on this channel that you can check in the description or the end of this video, or just go to the channel, scroll through, and see what piques your interest. But before you leave this video, remember to hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe, because I make content like every other day. I make too many videos. Comment down below with what terrible games you found for the Nintendo Switch. And I will see you very soon. Very soon. And like every other day. Every other day I make a video. It's my full-time thing now. 2018 is my first full year doing this full-time. So thank you for supporting that, because if it wasn't for you guys, there's no way I could do this. It sounded like I was about to cry, but honestly, my voice just kind of broke like I was 16. I'm out.